really can't believe it's September already. Jesus, it's almost September. And I didn't go on vacation, except of like 1 day trip to Germany. You can see in another video I made last week. This video is not going to be very edited or anything. It's going to be a straight talk, just like the video from last week. And the reason I'm doing these short videos now is simply because I'm working on a massive, super awesome project that I cannot talk about at all. It's super secretive and it's amazing. I hope that I'll be able to talk about it soon, but this video is going to be very much straight talk to my students, or students out there in general. I think this can be very helpful for anyone that is doing their graduation project in the next semester or the next year. Depends on what project, what. This is for designers. Obviously, I'm a designer and I am coaching every year from September until June, July, and September is coming. There are a couple of things that I always say and a couple of things that I feel like they're repeating for every project. It doesn't really matter what the subject is, who the student is. There are certain things that will follow and will be advised to any student who's working on their graduation project. First thing, when you pick a subject, try to pick something you really love. I know that the easiest way sometimes is to just take your internship and make a project for them and just be done with it because you want to go and work. I don't really think that's a good idea in some cases. In some cases it's good because you really love the company you work for and you really want to make something and you're super excited about it. If that's the case, that's awesome. If that's not the case, I would say try to think about something that you're really passionate about. Because when you're passionate about something, you're going to make something that is going to be worth it. It's going to be worth your time. You're going to love spending time on it. And that is that feeling that you want to have when you work on your graduation project. The second thing is you want to pick also a technology that you really want to play around with. So if you're super excited about virtual reality, then do something with that. If you want to work with 2D interfaces, do that. If you want to build something physical, do that. It doesn't really matter. It needs to be something that you're passionate about so you will enjoy working on it. It's a project that is very different from your projects for the last 3 years when you were studying, because it's in many academies, it's the first project that you're working for a complete semester on one thing and you just have one lesson a week, maybe half hour, maybe 15 minutes with a coach that will give you some direction, but you are the one that's in charge. So when you're picking a project, try to think about a subject that you really are interested in and passionate about, and technology that you would want to play around with. Maybe you're comfortable with it and you want to expand on it, and maybe it's something completely new and you're like very adventurous and want to do something because that's like what you feel you want to have your job. Like what I said about virtual reality, for example, I had a student that he just had one project that revolved around virtual reality, but then he took his graduation project into virtual reality because he wanted to work in that field. So rather than just playing safe in his comfort zone and doing stuff in 2D, he was like, I'm gonna go all in. And he had a great project and a great grade at the end. It was super challenging, but it was worth it because then he could use this project to get a job. And that is the most important thing. This is your key to the industry. So make use of it. Don't just wing it and make a project out of it. All right. Enough about this. So yeah, subject technology. Now the third thing is you want to document everything really well. When I'm saying document everything really well, everything that you do, the way I do it is with Notion, and I advise my students to work with Notion simply because you can create a database. And we start from the beginning, and every week we give a goal for the week. And we try to fill in everything that happened during the week as sort of a journal. I'm starting on the first day on Monday and I'm doing this, and that. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, these are the conclusions I've got from this week. And I write these conclusions in a summary, give it a few tags maybe, and then close this week. This is an entry in your database of the project. Then you move on to the next week and you fill it with more information and more information. And you do this every week. What happens is that when you need to work on your official document at the end, the one that you need to deliver and your teachers or your coaches are going to be reading and evaluating, then you can skim through these notes of every week and create your document fairly quickly because everything is documented. And because these final documents are normally limited with amount of words or characters, then you can link directly to that week where you had the research. So if the reader wants to dive in, they can do it by just following your links in your document. So try to document the complete process every week rather than just waiting for the last minute. It would save you a lot of time and hassle. It's just the professional way of doing it. The next point I want to stress out is that you want to have weekly goals. It is really important for you to define yourself a weekly goal, again, because you're used to working with lessons and coaches that will give you an assignment every week. Graduation doesn't work like this. You need to be in charge of your project. The coach is just giving you some advice, but you need to say, I'm going to be working on this goal to reach this goal this week because it's related to this milestone I want to have in a month. For instance, maybe you have a large presentation. Maybe there is a green light presentation, for instance, and you're 4 weeks before green light. Then you plan ahead and you think, okay, so what do I want to have? What is the kind of presentation I want to have in green light? And then you break down the weeks before to that point, and then you have a week goal, a weekly goal. If you do this and you put it in your database, in the entry, the goal for this week, then every time that you get lost a bit in the process during the week, you go back to it and like, okay, so where am I here? What should I do? And when you do that, you can even break the complete week in such a way that would benefit that goal. A lot of students start with working on their research, very theoretical research, for weeks. And I always advise to make stuff as you research. So it's sort of like a research diet. You want to be excited about the subject. You don't have to know everything about it before you start making things. You should try to know as much as you can, but I would really advise every week to have like Monday, Tuesday are research, ideation, and then play around with some ideas from your ideation. Try to come up with something that would be more visual. Try to sketch your ideas, even if it's just like you've discovered a company that is doing a certain service that is sort of similar to like this could actually solve the problem that you're trying to solve, for instance. Then try to see if you could copy a few pieces from their design and try to make your own design out of it. Even if it's just a paper sketch, it will be really, really useful for you, first of all, to realize your ideas. And also for your coach, when they look at what you've done, then it's not only theoretical, you're talking about an article that you've read and you talk about a product that you've seen. It's more like, this is the research that I've done and this is what I've learned from it. This is what I took from it. And it's more visual. Like I have a couple of sketches here of screens, the stuff that I found interesting. And this is really useful because then you can get much more of a constructive feedback from your coach. And that's it about that. The last thing has to do with delivering your document. The final document you deliver, that's basically the construction of the complete rationale behind your project. What you've done, how many times you basically failed through the process where you tried to create something, you iterated on it, and then you realized it didn't really work, and you came up with another proposal and redesigned it. This document, I advise students to do it in Notion, not because it's digital and like I can read it on my phone. Actually, it would be even easier if you would just make a PDF. But when you work with a platform like Notion, you can actually implement content that is interactive inside. You can feed it with videos from YouTube as a reference. You could even make your own video, like a screencast of you explaining a complex idea that you had or something that you've learned that you want to make sure that the reader understands. And when you create a document that is more interactive, that has videos in it, that has maybe audio pieces, maybe you had an interview with a user and you just recorded it, you could actually have that audio piece there. And that is super useful because then you can refer to a certain moment of that audio and it makes you really professional. If I would see someone if I need to hire a junior designer and they show me their graduation project and they show how constructive their document is and how clear their case study is presented, I look at a professional designer. They might be junior, they might just start now, but they see things in a professional manner. They take their job very seriously. If they did it in their graduation project, they're probably going to do this for my project as well when we work together. So it's extra points that you get from anyone that's going to be reading it. In a sense, you're designing the user experience of the reader. You're creating a document that would be really easy for them to digest, to make sure that they actually understand what you're talking about in the best way. And I'm ranting for too long now. It's been 15 minutes. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in September.